the co-founder of Global Leadership Education and also a second-year doctoral student in Educational Leadership and Development here at Boston University. My research concentration includes educational policy, immigrant education, also language education for immigrants. So, for the last 2 weeks, we have talked about leadership, global education, global citizenships, and also curriculum design this morning. But today what I'm going to do is a little bit different from what we have done, because like we were thinking about like how we can really create an ideal curriculum. So we build up on based on that one goal. We talked about leadership, global education, global citizenship. But what I'm going to do today is we're going to assume that we already have an ideal curriculum. And then we're going to think, how can we really implement this in public school? So just like the question that I sent you on Monday, there are so many inspiring private schools that have already implemented global education in their curriculums, but that's not the case in public school. And I believe, many of us want to reach out as many students as possible. In order to do that, we need to implement global education in public schools, right? Mm-hmm. So my question is then how we can get support from policymakers? How can we pass the bill in terms of teaching global education? So my question was what kind of challenges we have in implementation of global education in public school. That was the question that I sent you on Monday, right? So do you guys have any opinions on that?
I can talk from my data collection the last few years. I think schools are claiming that now just also listening past couple of months what's going on in the United States, I see there are lots of overlapping issues, not very different than each other. They claim to be so busy and their priorities are to teach them math and science, and so they have crazy busy schedules and dealing with and going to school, and everybody is running from one place to another place. So I think and then what I understood is they prioritize teaching math and science, and English, German are much more important than teaching other things.
Yeah.
So it's not important. They don't see the importance of it.
Yeah.
Because then they have to pass the exam and then they have to go to next level of education. So it's their priority. But then looking at my data analysis, children and young people need more such things skills to deal with the world, skills to ethical education, moral education, civic education they need more than they need math education or science education. It's very obvious in my data. So I would say they're not aware. They claim that they're so busy. I don't understand what they're doing all day. Seriously, they're all busy, but I don't know what they're doing. Seriously, what is they already have a schedule and a task, but I don't understand why there's 365 days so busy.
Yeah, definitely I agree. So I should say it's coming from some of you guys already know No Child Left Behind Act, so they are required to take exams and report the result to the government, right? So that's why they pretend busy. I don't know if they're busy, but yeah. Any other opinions on challenges?
I guess one of the challenges, maybe it's really related to what she said, but the policy, it's not easy to change something. So if you want to try something, they say, if you want to try this, we have to change this and that and that and that and that. So it looks almost impossible.
Right.
Yeah, that's one of the challenges, I think.
Policy. Yeah, definitely. Kind of related to what I'm going to talk about, right? Directly, policy. Right.
And also maybe again related to this, we were speaking last week, it's very difficult to change the institutional cultures. They do something and they want to continue it, and it's something new is threatening them.
Right.
I read one of the articles, they say if the teacher's room changed, the world can be changed. Yeah.
Cool. I mean, in relation to that teacher's role, I think that's how they got educated in their college experience or university experience. And then the way they learned in college is just going to be the same way when they actually teach their kids in school, right? So this ties into higher education actually, how the curriculum is designed and how they get taught in college level. at the college level. So, yeah, we have talked about the exam requirements. It was busy, like busy schedules and the policy issues and institutional culture, teachers' roles, and I believe that most of them are related to policy. Maybe I'm biased because I'm a policy major, but it's not that I want to blame them, but it's more like I want to emphasize the roles of the policymakers. If they give more fundings for teacher educations, they're gonna have more money to give better education system to like preserve teachers in college level, right? So I want to talk about like one challenge that we have talked about: teacher education, the roles of the teacher. So who are the stakeholders in that challenge? Who holds the power? Who holds the power?
Like head teachers.
Yeah, head teachers, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, if the administration implements some kind of development, professional development workshops, and how organized they are and how transparent they try to make the situation, and be like, we're offering these different maybe even just resources if they don't have time to do a training or time to do workshops.
Yeah.
Even more important than sometimes in some cases, like from the head teacher, because head teacher is busy with millions of things, and if administration doesn't work really, like nothing works then.
Yeah, right. So we are actually going to do a small group exercise at the end of this session. So just keep in mind of who are the stakeholders in this matter and what kind of challenges we have if we actually want to implement global education in the public schools. I'm going to remind you of all things at the end, so don't worry about it. What was it again? Okay, so how many of you are familiar with American legislative process? It's a tough one.
I'm not
right?
familiar at all.
Yeah, I know. It's like, but this is really important to know because just kind of assuming that we have perfect curriculum, we have very ideal curriculum in teaching our next generations. Then we want to implement this in public school, then you need to go through this process, right? So I'm just going to kind of giving you the information, but I'm not going to go too deep inside of it. So legislative process basically is a biennial. So the previous session started in January 2011 and it continued until July 2012, so 1.5 years. And since August, it has been informal session. So the next session is going to start in January 2013. So that's the term. So the legislative process starts with filing a bill. Any citizen can file a bill supported by a senator or senators, and also supported by a group of citizens. They basically sign on the petition, and they basically saying, I support this bill, I support global education, and they sign, address, email, phone numbers, and some comments at the bottom of the paper. And then this bill is going to go to the committee, education committee in our case. So the committees are divided by subject matters: education, economic development, transportation, public health, whatever. And then the committee is going to analyze the bill and going to schedule for a public hearing. So supporters and opponents of global education in our case are going to come together and kind of debate about whether we should pass the bill or not. And the next step is going to be an executive session. Only committee members can participate in this session, and they're going to give three possible reports: a favorable, adverse report, or study order. So if the bill gets favorable or study order, there's still a possibility that this bill can go until the end, meaning it can be legislation. But if you get adverse report, it's basically a dead end. So you can come back next session, but it's less likely to happen. And next step is a couple of reading processes, voting and budgeting processes, and finally the bill is going to go to the governor. If the governor signs, here you go, it's going to become legislation. Okay?
How many people usually go to a public hearing?
Public hearing, well, it depends on the topic, and then who are the stakeholders as well. It's like who are interested in this matter: teachers, parents. So it depends but the room is limited. So the room is kind of like, I should say, like the SED lobby kind of room.
Okay.
Yeah, so the room is limited. But yeah, I should say like less than 100. Yeah, but anyone can participate. That you need to wear a jacket inside. That's kind of rule, but yeah. So I want to. So considering the legislation process that I just talked about, I want to give you some recommendations. What I mean by is you want to learn from some of the successful bills, not from the bills that has failed in the middle, right? And then you want to learn from the contents, the successful elements of the bill, and then you want to implement that in your bill. Just assuming that you already have the ideal curriculum and you want to implement that. So I have an example over here, Dropout Prevention and Recovery Bill. The official title is an act relative to dropout prevention and recovery. I know that this is not relevant to global education, but at this point, it's kind of hard to find any details about how we're going to teach global education in legislation. It's at its very primitive level. So that's why I brought this bill, because it's recently supported by the Education Committee. And I'm just going to give you kind of details about this bill. The bill was filed in January 2011 and reported favored by the Education Committee in March 2012. And it hasn't passed during the last session, so it's going to continue this session. But it got the favorable report, so it's kind of going well. I put 100% over here because I believe that it's 100% successful bill, because it included.
I have a quick stupid question.
That's fine.
What is exactly bill? Let's say I want to open a new school with a new curriculum design. Does that also considered as a bill if I want to propose it?
Well, so the first step, one of the first step was getting a signature from the citizens on petition, right? The petition includes the title of the bill and the supporter, and the bill is basically a draft form of legislation.
I see.
So you need to include all the items you wanna, what you wanna say, you wanna include in legislation. Basically, like what the requirements are. So teacher education in terms of global education. And you want to include some leadership workshop.
Okay.
Those items you want your kids to learn, you're going to include in that bill.
So it could be anything from, let's say, from changing a lunch lunch thing to like open a new school.
Yeah. I mean, not the global leadership part, but if you want to change the lunch part, you can file a bill on it. But as I mentioned over here, the elements of successful bills is so important to know, because you can say whatever you want in your bill, but if you get adverse report in the middle, it's less likely to happen, right? You want to make a perfect bill so that it goes until the end, it becomes really legislation.
Oh, I'm talking about the range of the bill that I want to...
Range of the bill, you can include. Yeah, but I don't think like it can stand as a bill. It may be included in how to change the school environment, let's say, because it's like a too narrow topic. If you're just talking about like a school lunch, as an entire bill, it's a little too narrow. The topic is, yeah.
Thank you.
Question? Yeah. So. This is the bill, and I was talking about this 100% successful bill because they basically included 100% of stakeholders involved in this issue and dropout and prevention bill, and I believe that they thought about 100% of possibilities that can happen if the student drop out or if student is suspended or whatever. Oh, sorry. Oops.
It's coming.
Yeah. So these are the items that I want to talk about, but this is just my opinion. You can check this entire bill at the website, at the State House website, but this is just my opinion. And the first thing, parent participation, is like, for example, they talked about, especially for immigrant parents, if they do not speak English.
Just a little irrelevant question. Are you focusing with your studies in United States immigrant education?
Both, I should say. Yeah, because like I moved from immigrant education in Korea, and then I kind of started considering immigrant education in
why
America
I'm
as
asking,
well.
like, it's completely different policies.
Yeah, that's why it's not Korean policy.
Perspective.
Yeah, you can definitely bring some, some of the policies in European countries, and you can compare with American ones, and I think it's going to be helpful for others too, if you want to bring some examples.
I mean, just I want to understand your point because
My point, okay. Yeah,
it's completely different.
it's American policy.
Okay.
Yes. So first one, parent participation, and I was talking about the language part. So if the parents are immigrants, the bill requires the schools to report in both languages, English and the language of the parents. And the second part, public-private sector participation partnership. So students have a lot of issues. They may have some health issues. Some teenagers get pregnant, so that they drop out of school, and they sometimes have like ESL classes. The school is not capable of offering all those services, like language services, health services, so that they need some help from private sectors, and that's what this bill requires. And the third, the collaboration between school leaders, administrators, and teachers. Simple, just work as a group to help these children. And the fourth one, alternative education. So the school is required to give a list of alternative education to the students who may drop out of school. So it includes online education, online credit system, and like vocational education in private sectors, kind of thing. And that's kind of elements you may want to think about when you design your own bill in terms of educating global leadership. Okay, so this is the group exercise that I was talking about. So we kind of, to summarize, I have talked about challenges and stakeholders stakeholders involved in the challenge, and last, just considering the legislative process that I was talking about, I want you to think about what would you put in your bill. So for instance, you can think about teacher training. That's a challenge. You got to train your teachers on how you're going to teach your kids about global education, and who are the stakeholders in that matter, teacher education, and what would you put in your bill. So does that make sense, this group exercise? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I want you to guys work like group 3 and 4, and we're gonna have like 15 minutes to think about, and then we can propose, our own bill basically to each other. Is there anything unclear?
Can you elaborate more? I can what would you put in the kind of proposal or something?
Like if you change the bills or the teachers, you change the homework, and I'm just going to
This one,
because like it's everywhere, even if they study.
But yeah, this is just an example, and then I believe these elements made this bill successful.
So that's like the whole story.
So this is what they
examples of
were.
what you put into the bill.
Yeah, so you can think about these elements as well when you design your own bill, but you can come up with some creative ideas. But it has to pass the legislative. Pass.
Like proposal.
Yeah, proposal. Yeah, so just to think about the challenge, stakeholders involved in that matter, and what's going to be the elements of the
classroom. They hear they're not good enough because they're Muslim, because they're Turkish, and
Let's find the challenge first. What kind of challenges can we
It's
find?
obviously like
I think the challenge is that
teachers can be, and what's the challenges?
How to
thinking about it as a circle, the whole process.
Like the teacher
We need to have
education
a
and the
successful.
value, like
We need to
first
propose a
change
successful
the,
bill, and possibly
it's
pass,
of course long term,
which means that we have
value
we have to have all the
education and
successful
teachers.
elements
Because I was just
that
I was doing a course in
at least,
Spain,
you know,
and
I mean, for example,
students
at least
were
you have
telling
a,
me, university students,
like, let's say 100 or 20, 200 number of
teachers
parents
if you couldn't do something, you
that
wouldn't become a teacher.
sign up on the bill or something.
Yeah.
So for making it happen, we have to
If you're a
have the,
failure in class,
the common idea or a common initiative of the mindset. So let's say if I want to create a new school, or let's say if I want to make a global citizenship education required in all public school, that I need to meet other people and say that why is it important. You know, have to make them think about and have to make them understand and agree to this bill, this proposal. I think that's the most challenging things, I think.
So raise awareness among teachers, among parents. I
Mhm.
mean,
Maybe it's
It's like this. I mean, from my understanding is
things like this.
a bill is the complete thing. It's like 100-page document, and then I think what Chong tried to show was there are like scenarios. What if the teenager is pregnant and she drops out of school? What if they have a natural disaster, the home blows up, and then they don't have any house to do their homework, right? And what if this happens? So those are all use cases. What if scenarios? Like what if this? What if this? What if that? Then for each scenarios there is a solution. Oh, maybe we can get some, accommodation places or hotel that can be funded by the state. So I think she's trying to find out is all the challenges, if we can find all the challenges that can happen in a student's thing, and then we can say, okay, we cover all the challenges here, now let's find solutions for the challenges. There could be sometimes more than one solution. So that makes it like 100%. So a good bill, as far as you can see from that, is like, we have to think about all possibilities. Because if it's a good bill and say, shit, we didn't think about this use case, what happens if? Then that's not a good bill, because that makes it weak. And then it's like the risk analysis. You find the risks and you mitigate the risks.
give solutions.
They give solutions, exactly. So it's like, I think in this exercise, this is just an exercise. Like, let's say we are the policymakers here. We find one challenge here, we pick one challenge, and then we identify the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders in this thing? Students, parents, it could be different stakeholders. And what would we put in this bill for this special challenge? So that, this is just one of them. And if we do this exercise 10 times, our bill is going to be perfect. When we submit it, they go, oh, these guys are smart. They thought about all the use cases and this is perfect, So I think what we can do as a start is like find a challenge. Just one challenge. This is a group exercise. Think about the challenge. Let's just think about the challenge and then we can find the rest of it. Can you think of a challenge?
Like the teacher was comparing
This
like
is
European
totally
way
fictional.
and like American English.
It could
way,
be a
like
real
people have
world
small
scenario
thoughts, which
or-
Europeans don't have.
The English, that's nice thing.
Challenge.
Yeah,
High
like
school
the
graduate
weather is
students
really nice and
have
like
major, decided major in college that is not really interested in that.
like such small thoughts. And
But the
then
thing is that, to challenge again, it takes too much time to find out the major that will actually fit their interest.
effective
And high school or the secondary school, including elementary school, doesn't support students to find out their interest.
Elementary school can't find the students' interest easily.
Yeah. Elementary and secondary, so middle and high school.
Yeah.
The material, everything you want to.
This is elementary school, right?
Oh no, to all the
Is it like K-12?
K-12, yeah.
I'm not in this, so I don't know the terminology. K-school, K-12 schools can't find the students' interest easily.
And the courses offered are not their interest.
So it causes students in college year they spend too much also the tuition because they stay here to find out their major
maybe like
that
to
actually really
also,
interested in that.
like,
So
do such
they
interest
start
trainings
from
for
engineer,
teachers.
they start from some other place and they move another department like this.
But they don't find out.
They don't find out it. So they spend too much money, too much time on it.
So it's like, you want to select, let's say there are silos, there are different ways. This way is science guys, like the students who are interested in science go this way. This is literature, and this is education, and this is math, let's say. So in a school, there are different paths, there are 4 options. In better schools, maybe there is 10, there is 15, like more possibilities. You want to take the student and put them in the right bucket. If you put a science student in the wrong bucket, literature, that student is not going to be interested. In the middle, is going to be just, you're going to lose the student, right? So I think the challenge that you're saying is how can we help the student find his best talent, find the area that of interest, and we can put him in the right thing. And then I think that's a good challenge.
That happens in Thailand.
Yeah, it happened to me too. You know, in high school, I wasn't sure. I went first this thing, then I
That
changed.
happened to me.
Okay. So you guys agreed that we should take it as a challenge?
right?
Okay, so if we have the challenge, so we have an issue here. We want to help this, schools find the of the students the messages. Who are the stakeholders in this thing?
Yeah, that's what I.
Wow.
Yeah.
So maybe
Who are
like
impacted
training
and who are impacting this thing?
Parents first. For me, I mean, speaking from my context in Thailand, I think sometimes parents are very influential on students.
Super idea.
And they're like, I want you to become a doctor. And that's a path already for students. They have no choices.
I think something like
Going back to Korean
I mean,
circumstance,
the co-teaching is really
it is
cool,
really
but I don't think
important
it's
to
feasible
go
for a lot of
higher
schools.
level of university. It doesn't matter if you're
So maybe having
doesn't matter
one
your
that
your major. So for
you
example,
go
if
observe
for
another
me
classroom or
it's
something,
easier
so
to
you can all
get
say,
that
"This is
certain
where
certain
how
university
everyone
with
else
this
is doing,
path,
how-
for example, let's say math.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not
Like
interested in
something
math.
they do really good
Then
at Harvard, I heard
But math is a
recently, for
good way
example,
to
there are
get
some
Right.
courses.
Good way to get to the highest
Somehow they have this lottery
university.
system,
The
not
pass
really lottery, but like
they just
they have
get
to
it.
write. I mean, I was like,
So
what
the first
lottery? What do you
priority is
mean?
that just get
But
into the
it was more like
university,
lottery
then
means
you
like
think about
if
it.
people
So
want
that's
to
kind of
enroll this class, they write like an essays, 5 pages, 4 pages, and then teacher selects them to come because there are like
So,
250
I would
or
say,
500 people that want to go and then like she cannot do it. So
The students themselves?
then there are some
Yeah,
courses
students themselves.
like nobody wants to go.
Yeah,
really.
stakeholders are usually
But also
entities,
those
like
professors are
either
really good
people,
teachers. I mean, they're like
living
very
things
well
or
known
not
professors.
living things.
But then nobody wants to go to
Usually
their
living
class.
things.
Like there are just maybe 5
Most
people are
teachers,
studying.
I guess.
So they do
Teachers.
something
Yeah,
really
they
good.
have to have
I
a
heard to
record.
improve, so they can
Also
also teach. But
teachers and
and then they
principals.
do like
Because if they have
either
a, like,
they
a good
report the
data
class
that,
of this
you know,
very
we-
popular
we-
professor.
We
So
have
that
10
people
students
can
this
watch,
year
and
to
then
go to
they use it
Harvard.
as material for
became good
like
school.
skill development for these teachers to
I'm not sure what.
So yeah, I thought
in
it's
my
like
country
incredible.
there's a
They ask for
position.
permission, those
I'm
like
not sure
very
about
popular
it. Which
professors,
word
like
is it?
where
Educational
500 people
psychologist,
wants to
someone
go.
that
So
give
then they
advice
record
for
it, and they have
students about
two, like
the
in each
future,
semester
about
they
the
have
study plan
one
in the
training
future for
session
the
for all
student after
teachers
high
who
school.
like
They-
come and develop their
what's the
skills.
word?
They
And
each of
then
the
they
class,
also use as teaching materials
in
the
Korea,
course of
it's
these
opposite, like
teachers,
in
and then they
America.
try to evaluate and like
Students have
analyze
their
what they do
class,
so good,
and
so
teachers
teachers are
move
going.
around.
I mean, students
Not
want
that
to
like
go
here,
there.
teacher have
So I
their
think
own
it's like
class and
I was
students
thinking it's
move
very
around.
important because
So
a person
each of the
would be like
class has
incredible
a
person
teacher
who's so knowledgeable.
who takes
Let's
care about
say,
them rather than just
another
teaching a
skill
subject.
to give it to
Oh.
people.
So probably
And
that
then
could be
make
an
it
advisor.
something presentable
You-
and like
you call
people
that
enjoys learning.
educational advisor.
So that's why I think
Oh.
like
It's sort of,
communication skills
yeah,
are extremely
advisor.
important for like
So they have
leaders
different
and
responsibilities
teachers and
for
whatever.
just not
But I
only
think also,
teaching
like,
but also giving advice.
extending
Right, attendancy and,
teacher training, not like
you
just in the
know,
university, but
yeah,
also
like giving
when they're
them
in the
some
field and then
advisors.
working with children, because also then
record
they
and
are
then
busy with their things,
take
but
care about
like
the,
making
the
such
students.
you know
rather than just
interventions that they also develop
So
their
far we have
skills
defined as stakeholders,
learn
parents,
how to become
obviously,
better teachers and
which are influential in students' future. Students, definitely the biggest stakeholder.
Right.
Teachers, who are also the the biggest stakeholder here.
that's the ways the
Administration, which is the resident school,
It's not the usual sense of communication.
we have like, if there's any other stakeholders here.
like lifelong learning or something.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Like,
Because
this is the
also,
process,
like,
right? We want
I'm
to
sorry
take
to
the
interrupt,
student,
also
put them in the
seeing
good,
it, like,
whatever
service
their talent
trainings
or interest is,
are in
put them
a
in the
way
right
for
path.
teachers like extra
So,
burden
do we have
because
any
they
other
only have
stakeholders
so
here?
much
Are teachers the
at
same with
school.
curriculum
I
designers?
think what about having
Because for me
sort
sometimes
of,
teachers are just
you know, like
teaching the
during
subject
Right.
that
surgery,
are
there's like
they
a
are expert,
rotating,
Yeah.
but curriculum designers
like
might be
during one of
different
your off
person
periods,
for me.
instead
Or
of it being
could
an
be a
off period, they make
policymaker,
it
but it's not.
integrated into your school
Yeah.
day. Like all schools have to have like
Well,
one.
maybe not.
So the
One day
policymaker is for
or-
kind of
or-
Like
Like
once in
ministry
a
level
semester, like
or
as they do, they
school
don't
level
break because
or
time is
what?
passing so
Because-
quickly. Everyone's
School district.
for my context,
Yeah.
it's more university.
Not effective, they just
No, I'm saying that maybe this could be.
Twice of a year, like once in the autumn, once in the spring. Make like one half day school or half day or
How much
all
time
day
do you
school
have?
off.
Running out of
We are writing the bill right now.
hurry up.
No, I mean, I will ask you, like, you know, how many times do you guys want to meet more, and then you can take like more time, whatever you want, because like, I finished my presentation earlier than I thought, so.
Like once per
Gonna get some
vision,
quick
like at least once or
marking or
twice a
something.
year.
But you guys can talk about
In the urban
what would be
schools
good.
with really like problem.
Do you need more?
The kids from
How much
problematic
we have
families, how
left?
much would be
Five?
essential for
No, you
teachers
don't
to
have
get
time,
over
right?
it? A couple of times a year, like supervision.
I mean, we are ready to discuss about.
Yeah, because like, you know, if you need more time,
So,
we're
like,
definitely gonna give you more.
Maybe a couple of minutes, two.
Yeah.
So how about the third
So I
one?
think this part is pretty much covered.
Yeah.
How about the third one?
What would you?
What would
I will
you
give you 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so
What would
it's
you
like
put?
our proposal, what we are going to do to make a new path parent participation.
Parent participation,
So
absolutely.
like theme topic training, they're like special topics.
Because they believe that anyway, if their kids, if they agree with that, you know, this actually it's good for your children, they will follow it up, right? But not that because they push them to become a doctor or something, not that because they want the title itself, but because they believe that this could be good for their children.
I think the parents should be educated or informed about,
Right.
you know, the curriculum plan,
Because-
something like that, and the next one should be student
like I
counseling
remember some
for
colleagues
some
like
parts,
really
like some of them
enthusiastic
might not
and
know
ambitious,
what they're going to do in the
colleagues I
future,
had
or they're not sure about
they were really like
the
perfect
future,
teachers
about
and
the
they have
majors
done
that
really a
they
lot.
like to
And then
study.
they were organizing for parents to inform
I
them about how they
think
can
for
support
my
their children
context,
finish education system. It's
it's
very
very
task
quite
oriented.
significant
Children
because
are
students like they
failing.
are blind,
Like, for example, they
walking,
had 20
they
students
have no
who are like
no
blind
objective
oriented.
or goals in their
And then
life.
they were having like really nice,
What else?
you know, just 1 hour session to like speak with
So,
them, and they were
parents'
paying them
participation,
cheap
I would say
and
student participation
offer them
too.
some food like lunch
Okay.
or something.
Yeah.
And then
Oh, what do you mean
and
by
also have people from
Students
their mother tongue
participation,
to
you mean
translate,
we
like
have
Somalian,
meeting
Iraqi,
for,
and whatever.
I mean,
But again,
to
out
gather
of 20
students
students,
together
like 5 of their
to
parents were
voice their
coming.
needs
And
or
then
Or even
second
get some
session, just
signature from
1 or
them.
2, and the
Okay.
third
And
session,
saying
no
that they
more.
agree
So,
with that idea that they believe that this is good for them.
okay.
Yeah.
So can I propose like number three is like students counseling as a
Yes,
say
exactly.
it's like sometimes you could have some problems or they have something that they don't know.
Yeah.
So we should have some kind of educational psychologists or educational experts to give them some advice or insights about what they're
Educational
curious
advisor.
about.
May I see your points?
See what else?
Three
Yeah,
to
literacy
five.
training, public speaking, communication, lifelong learning, effective training, special topics training.
Yeah, special topic.
I think it's enough.
Collaboration.
Great.
Okay.
So all of the participants,
and then
or
essentially
supporters
there
have
would
the
be
same
schools
voice.
administration.
not that they,
I
you
also
know, this
think
one
that
say this,
forming
this
some
another
sort
one, you
of-
know, they have to say the
I'm
same
not too familiar
core
right now with like if there's,
concept that they're trying to do.
much networking, like for example, the science teachers in Boston Public
Um,
Schools.
But how can you prove it?
I know
So when
have
you
a
talk
group
about this
of them.
process, like you have
I'm
a
not sure
different
how often
path
they
for
meet,
students
but
to
I
choose
think they're
from,
trying to
and
establish
what's
some sort
the
of,
what's the process for
like
them
maybe actually
to
this is
choose, or
probably
they just
here, is
choose
establishing some sort of.
at, I mean,
Peer
any path that they
teacher
like, or they have to
support
pass any kind of exam first, or
I would
That's a
say,
good idea too, to pass the exam. The student may say, oh, I'm
And
really
they say
interested in
critical.
science. Okay,
But it's
and I
not
want to be a
enough.
scientist. All right, let's just see that if you know the basics. Like, what's a planet? I don't know. Well, you better go to the literature. in a second.
Yeah.
Because maybe they may think that the mother and father is driving them, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a doctor. The kid says, yeah, I'm going to be a doctor, but in real, he doesn't want to be a doctor.
And
So you give a basic
they don't
exam.
have enough knowledge to pass the kind of,
Exactly, like
become a
interest exam, that's I think very
So I
good.
think the curriculum have to support that, to give the chance, to give a lot of chance to students to experience and realize what they're interested in, what they're good on it.
But does that takes too much time? Because if you give students a lot more chances to experience every kind of path, and just like what you said, that it
Well, I
might
won't say
take too
in
much.
depth, not that just because this is gonna formative assessment. So if you pass it, you're good on it. Not that like this, but really in depth experience.
So we should.
I don't really want to interrupt you guys, but
Okay.
you're interrupting us. Sorry. Yeah, but let's share.
Okay.
Okay. Which team wants to go first?
There you go.
Really? Okay.
So in our team, we did these things. We talked about this. I'll start and then we will continue. So we defined as a challenge that in a school, it's a big challenge to find the student's talent and interest. So this student wants to be a doctor because the parents are saying you gotta be a doctor or lawyer, but the student's interested in something else, or they don't have any talent in, like they're not a good science person. So that's a challenge because if you it's a cooking something. If you don't have the right elements, and put it in a pat, the student is not going to be very efficient because that's not his best area, right? How can we find the student's best talent and interest and put them in the right, like, this is the science path, this is the math path, this is the literature path, and so that's the challenge. And then you can go ahead with the stakeholders.
So in terms of stakeholder, we come up with the list. The first one should be parents first, because parents will take charge for, give them some kind of counseling or give them some advice too. And for my context in Thailand, sometimes parents are very influential in students in terms of choosing the major that they like to pursue in the future. The next one should be students themselves too, because this is, directly related to them, to their future, to their study. The next one, teachers, okay. And we also have administrator, policymaker, and curriculum designers as well, and come up with the different significant paths of learning so that students can choose from. What else? School district management. And what else? Number 3. So what will be put into the bill? The first one, of course, that we have parents' participation. We should some kind of gather parents together to voice their needs, to voice their concerns about their children. The next one should be students' participation. So we also have some kind of meeting with the students, and another one is about student counseling too. Just let them voice their needs not enough. We should, give them some counseling or advice after that too, because on their way to pursue the future goal, they might have some problems that they don't know how to solve it. What else?
That was the exam thing that you said.
Oh yeah, right. We're looking at the picture that if we have different paths for students to choose from, like math, science, music, art, or something like that, in the entrance or at the gateway, how can we make sure that students choose the right one, the right path, and the path that they are competent with? They would just like, okay, I like this one, can I take it? And we say yes, or we need to give them any kinds of assessment or exam first to make sure that, okay, you like it, but are you sure that you have enough competency to take that path or not? We are thinking about that too.
Right.
That's it so far.
That's weird.
That's very interesting stuff.
Any comments do you have on this one?
I have one more idea.
Sure.
I think it's related to the theory of multiple intelligences.
Multiple intelligence?
Yeah, because I think each student have different intelligences. Parents and teachers should realize that they should not focus on just one intelligence, like they get best score in like math exam or science exam. Maybe students have other talents, and I think school and parents should stimulate their talents to help them discover their best talent.
Definitely, that's good. Yes. let's hear the other team.
Oh, okay.
You wrote.
That's it. I got that. So our challenge that we chose was teacher training and kind of how they develop into good, effective teachers. So came up with a subset of trainings that might be involved with improving them as a teacher. So the first one was doing a culture and diversity training to increase the understanding and backgrounds of different students that are represented in the classroom. Then a lifelong learning type of model where they might have ongoing workshops or ongoing check-ins, whether it's a couple times a semester or if it's even like a group of people like peer teacher groups that are working within like Boston Public Schools or certain subjects, or if it's a bi-weekly or every other week training on technology workshops and resources like United Classrooms or different things like that. Also an organization and management sort of training day, and the biggest theme that we saw in all of these included communication. So that was our big thing that we kept coming back to. So our bill would definitely say communication is key in learning how to effectively communicate, presentation skills, effective word choice, and also translating the adult way of thinking and adult language into understandable format for students of different age groups. So, and also for our stakeholders, there would be of course the administration who's looking into how to implement this, but also department chairs, like science chair department, or the person in history, so their chair, and what different trainings they would see most effective as well for their particular department, because it might vary. And then also perhaps have a city government liaison that's helping to oversee these types of trainings and make sure, is everyone on the same page? Are all of our schools, regardless of if they're like just a city school or a charter school or private school, I think that having some sort of community aspect to that is really important.
Right.
Because not always decentralization works.
Right.
And then the last thing, I wrote this down.
That's okay.
I thought about how interesting it would be to have students involved, for those who might be in student council, for example. And students can take the teacher trainings as an opportunity in-house to kind of model their, it's like a real life issue, and how do you do these different trainings. And student council oftentimes has these types of trainings. Like I remember we went to a leadership retreat and presentations, and we did committees and diversity training. So all of that's included, so why not tap into that resource and use your own students to try to help develop maybe some of these trainings. I thought that would be kind of interesting.
Any comments on
Anything else?
Yeah. She is a perfect communicator.
Oh, that's great. That's great representative. Yeah. Okay, so I believe that a lot of things that you guys mentioned, like from the first team, parents gathering, student participation advising system, and also from the second team, like lifelong learning workshop and communication, also like supervising the school, whether they are on track. Those things are already I have seen in this bill, specifically the dropout prevention bill and also other bills. So you guys are on right track. So yeah, so which is great. And this was just imaginary bill, but hopefully, if you have a time, please visit the public hearing at the State House. If there's any public hearing. Yeah, at the State House, if any issues comes, in terms of global education and also your major, please visit there. And you now know the legislative process and everything, and you know how to design a bill as well. So hopefully
We senator building.
Yeah. Contact your senator.
Is there a place that we can check which is ongoing and what time and where we can participate?
Yeah, the thing is, I have to mention that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I have to mention that there are 8,000 bills that are processed in one session, 1.5 years. So, do you want to check 8,000 bills? Then you should.
Not really.
Search engine embedded.
Yeah, you can, but you
So
know,
that
don't
gives very
expect too
little
much.
time for the analysts. Like if there's 8,000 bills, like they don't have much time to go over a bill. They just look at it like,
Exactly.
okay, this is a good
Keep
one or bad
reading.
one.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
can they
That's
process
why
that?
you need to make it really well with the successful elements. They're gonna see the elements. Oh, yeah, we haven't seen these elements before. You know, you mean that probably there
Skim
aren't
reading.
much research done on it, and just pass it. It's gonna be rejected.
That's
So-
why policymakers are busy.
Yeah, and people are thinking like too much bureaucracy. It takes so much time, but there are 8,000 bills per session.
Incredible.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
So
Ridiculous.
yeah.
For ours, I have a quick question. We didn't really see parent participation in ours. We weren't sure how that would play a role.
Parent participation.
Yeah, and so because
Yeah.
we were making a list and we were like, no, not like parents,
Parent participation.
not too much, but
Yeah, I mean parent
would there
participation. Yeah.
in teacher training and development.
Yeah. Because I'm more like giving the responsibility to schools.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. I think you need to focus on communication with parents. If you come up with teacher anything that has anything that's going to change a lot of teacher system or teaching system in school, you can communicate with parents about that. And even though the parents are not going to have like big decision, they're not going to make a difference in the decision making process. They're going to still be happy to know what's going on in the school and know what's going to happen to our kids, kind of thing. So communication.
Okay.
White pages or newsletters setting.
Yeah.
So, any other question? So hopefully this helped you to understand more what like policy is like something that people think it's really boring and not interested in, but here you go, now you already made a bill here, so all right. So my session has finished.
Is there any, I'm not sure if you know about, but is there any bill ongoing that is related about global education?
Yeah, I mean that's the part. I mean, there is one sentence about global education. In this, yeah.
Wow.
I can't. And I have a. I brought that. There is one line.
Sorry. In what legislation is there? Only one sentence?
This is already passed. So this is included in legislation, general laws. General laws, chapter 71, section 1. You can check it. But I can read it for you. General laws, chapter 71, sector 1.
71 sector.
Yeah, so I can just read it. The Department of Education is hereby directed in collaboration with the Massachusetts Center for Global Education to establish a task force for the purpose of developing a model curriculum for grades kindergarten through 12 in global education and international studies. That's the only thing that I found about global education. But, yeah, so as I said, it's at the very primitive stage. Yeah.
Yeah, long way to go.
Long way to go. Yeah, we have a bill here, but yeah, so you gotta wait 20 years more, or it's gonna take time. But there are still many like inspiring curriculums in private schools, and we are testing a lot of new curriculums in private school. If it's proven to be successful, you may be able to implement that in public school in near future, hopefully. Yeah.
It's like a new market that we need to
It is.
pioneer.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Thank you. That was very good.
Thank you so much. Yeah.